What if I told you that for the past 4 years, over 1,000 people have been unknowingly participating in one of the most intriguing anti-aging experiments ever conducted? And the results, published just 3 days ago, suggest that a simple vitamin you can buy at any pharmacy might actually slow down your cellular aging clock. Here's what makes this different from every other supplement study you've heard about. This isn't some observational study where researchers just noticed that people who take vitamins seem healthier. This is from the VITAL trial, a massive randomized placebo-controlled study with 25,000 participants. And within that trial, researchers have been secretly measuring something fascinating in over 1,000 people's blood cells. They've been tracking telomeres. Now, telomeres are like the plastic tips on your shoelaces, except they're on your chromosomes. Every time your cells divide, these telomeres get a little bit shorter. When they get too short, your cells basically retire or die. It's one of the fundamental reasons we age. Shorter telomeres equal older cells, and that translates to everything from wrinkles to weakened immunity to increased disease risk. For decades, scientists have been searching for ways to slow this telomere erosion. They've tried everything from meditation to extreme diets. But on May 21st, researchers dropped a bombshell. People taking just 2,000 international units of vitamin D3 daily for 4 years preserved about 140 base pairs of telomere length compared to the placebo group. In practical terms, their cells aged about 3 to 4 years slower at the molecular level. Think about that. While everyone else's cellular clocks were ticking away normally, the vitamin D group cells were aging in slow motion, not stopped, not reversed, but measurably slower. It's like finding out that a $5 bottle of vitamins contains a mild time dilation effect for your DNA. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The same trial tested omega-3 fish oil supplements, which everyone assumed would help based on their anti-inflammatory properties. The result? Absolutely nothing. Zero effect on telomeres. Only vitamin D showed this cellular age-slowing effect. Dr. Joanne Manson, who led the VITAL trial at Harvard, called these results paradigm shifting. And she's not someone who throws that term around lightly. This is the first large-scale, gold standard trial to show that any supplement can influence this fundamental aging process. Previous studies hinted at it, sure, but they were all observational. This is cause and effect. So how is vitamin D pulling off this cellular magic trick? The researchers think it's attacking aging from multiple angles. First, vitamin D dampens chronic inflammation, which is like rust for your telomeres. Less inflammation means less cellular wear and tear. Second, it might be activating telomerase, the enzyme that can actually rebuild telomeres. A smaller study from 2011 showed vitamin D increased telomerase activity by 19%. And third, vitamin D influences over 2,500 genes, many involved in DNA repair and cellular maintenance. What's really mind-blowing is that vitamin D isn't just slowing one marker of aging. Previous VITAL analyses found it also reduced chronic inflammation markers and lowered the risk of advanced cancers and autoimmune diseases by 22%. The telomere finding might be the missing piece explaining why vitamin D seems to have these broad protective effects. It's not just helping with one thing, it's slowing the fundamental process that underlies multiple age-related problems. But wait, there's a plot twist. Remember that Australian study I mentioned? The D-Health trial gave 60,000 international units of vitamin D once a month to older adults for 5 years. Their telomere results? Absolutely identical to placebo. No benefit whatsoever. So what's going on? The key might be in the dosing. VITAL used daily supplements, while D-Health used massive monthly doses. It's possible our cells need a steady supply of vitamin D to maintain their telomeres, not occasional megadoses. Or maybe the effect only shows up in people who start with suboptimal vitamin D levels. The Australian participants were mostly vitamin D sufficient already. This raises a crucial question. If you're someone who already has adequate vitamin D from sun exposure and diet, will supplements help your telomeres? We don't know yet. But considering that up to 40% of adults are vitamin D deficient, especially in winter months or if you work indoors, the implications are staggering. Now, before you rush out and buy industrial quantities of vitamin D, let's be clear about what this doesn't mean. This isn't a fountain of youth. The participants didn't suddenly look 4 years younger. or gain superhuman abilities. Telomere length is one marker of biological aging, not the whole story. Your cells in different tissues might respond differently. And we don't know yet if this telomere preservation will actually translate to living longer or healthier. There's also the uncomfortable fact that telomere biology is a double-edged sword. Cancer cells hijack telomerase to become immortal. So we're walking a tightrope here. The vital dose seems to slow telomere loss without pushing them to unnaturally long lengths, which is reassuring. It's maintaining healthy telomere length, not trying to turn you into a cellular teenager. But still, this discovery opens up tantalizing possibilities. If vitamin D can slow one hallmark of aging, what about the others? Researchers are already planning to check if it also slowed participants' epigenetic clocks, another way to measure biological age based on DNA modifications. They'll track whether the vitamin D group develops fewer age-related diseases over the coming years. The timing of this discovery is particularly interesting. We're in an era where billionaires are spending millions on exotic anti-aging treatments, from young blood transfusions to experimental drugs. Meanwhile, this study suggests that a supplement costing pennies per day might be doing something similar at the cellular level. Not as dramatic, sure, but actually proven in a rigorous trial. Dr. Haidong Zhu, the study's lead author, put it this way: targeted vitamin D supplementation may be a promising strategy to counter biological aging. That's scientist speak for, this is really exciting, but we need more research, which is fair. One study, even a great one, doesn't rewrite the textbook, but it does add to a growing body of evidence that aging isn't as fixed as we thought. Exercise can influence telomeres. Stress reduction might help. Certain diets show promise. And now we have solid evidence that vitamin D belongs on that list. We're slowly learning that our cellular clocks aren't completely beyond our control. What should you actually do with this information? The researchers themselves say don't make drastic changes based on one study, but ensuring you're not vitamin D deficient seems increasingly wise, especially as you age. Most experts recommend blood levels between 30 and 50 nanograms per milliliter. Getting tested is simple and might tell you if you could benefit from supplementation. The real significance here isn't just about vitamin D, it's proof of concept. If one simple intervention can measurably slow a fundamental aging process, what else is possible? This study will likely trigger a wave of research into other nutrients, dosing strategies, and combination approaches. We might be at the beginning of understanding how to hack our cellular aging through surprisingly simple means. In the end, this discovery is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because, despite all our advanced technology, a basic vitamin is doing something we couldn't achieve with billion-dollar research programs. Empowering because it suggests we have more control over our biological destiny than we realized. Your cells are listening to what you feed them, and apparently they really like their vitamin D. The question now isn't whether we can influence aging, it's how much and what else is hiding in plain sight. Maybe the real anti-aging breakthroughs won't come from Silicon Valley labs, but from finally understanding the molecules we've been ignoring. Speaking of which, if you want to explore more cutting-edge science discoveries that could reshape how we think about human health and our biological limits, the next video dives into another game-changing finding. Your future self might thank you for watching it.